You've arrived in France, a country famous for its medieval architecture and its history. You're just doing touristy things when you stumbled upon an old library and found an interesting looking book about the Middle Ages. You take a look at a few pages and think, will I survive the medieval times? Later, you spend the rest of the day exploring the picturesque town till night falls. While you were walking back to your hotel, a thick fog draws in and consumes the path ahead of you. Your vision gets blurry and you suddenly pass out. The next morning, you wake up and thankfully, your organs are still intact. Suddenly, you hear the sound of the wheelbarrow moving closer to you from behind. You see a man in medieval clothing staring at you with a confused face. Is there some kind of medieval fair going on? You start walking towards the town center to investigate. Everyone was in medieval clothing. You see knights in shiny armor roaming on horses. Yep, you definitely got transported to the medieval times somehow. So what's the first thing you should do? You gotta get out of those modern clothing. You don't want to be seen wearing a hoodie and Yeezys during the medieval times. You would be sticking out like a sore thumb. Sneak into one of the houses, then look for clothing to blend in with the villagers. You're dressed in your new clothes, smells funky.
Yuck!
But you got no choice since washing machines weren't invented yet. Next major problem is that you don't speak their language, so any type of conversation was going to be impossible at this point. Thankfully, your phone is still working and you have downloaded the offline version French translation app. Using this, try your best to explain who you are and how you got to medieval France. Saying that you're a time traveler will probably get you the same reaction that you would get if you said to people nowadays. So we advise against that. Instead, claim to be from some distant but not too distant land. Next, you gotta look for a job so you can buy food to survive. It is highly unlikely that your present-day job will be very useful back in the Middle Ages. Being an airline pilot or computer programmer will not get you very far in the 14th century, but your more basic skills will be invaluable, like mathematics and even basic writing can be very useful. And if you have any ability to draw or paint, or sing, that will be a huge bonus. Maybe introducing them to Enter Sandman and call it as your own.
Welcome Medevliker to play their new song Enter Sandman.
Avoid spreading modern knowledge. Be cautious about sharing your knowledge of the future, as it could lead to accusations of witchcraft. Become friendly with the local churches, since they were the most powerful and definitely the OG influences of the medieval times. Assuming you want to thrive in your new medieval life, you're gonna need to meet with the upper class of society. Violent crimes in the medieval period were at least 10 times higher than what it is today. Protect yourself at all times. If things go south really quickly, the church has your back and you can enter the building to claim sanctuary. No one could come in to harm you or arrest you. But what about the Black Plague? It's estimated that it killed between 1/3 and 1/2 of the population of Europe. So it is a challenge. Socially distance yourself as we did in the future in 2020, maybe just a little bit further. Escape the city and try to ride out the plague from a more isolated location. With the absence of antibiotics in the medieval period, it's game over for you if you ever catch the disease. Hopefully you will not be transported back to the Middle Ages. It would be difficult to adjust without all the modern tech you're so used to now. Anyway, if you do happen to time travel, remember that you can use your knowledge and skills to make a good living in that world. If you do, just make sure to write about your experiences in a journal so that the future historians will get to read about them.